السلام عليكم، مرحبا بكم. كنتمنى هذا الفيديو يجبركم في احسن الاحوال. نستنى الراي ديالكم في التعاليق. يلا نبداو.
How often have you tried to give someone advice and heard these words? What's it to you? Mind your business. Or these words, I'm free since I'm not hurting anyone. Or these words, look at yourself before giving advice. Or tried to give someone advice but didn't for feeling you're less than giving advice. If this happened, let me tell you, you're wrong. Look, Allah singled our nation, Muhammad's nation, out with a trait not in other nations, and made it a primary worship. It's promotion of virtue and prevention of vice. I'm not telling you to attack the wrongdoer, or interfere and prevent him by force, etc. I'm only talking about advice. Correction mechanism. I'll explain. If, God forbid, you become sick, you go to a doctor for treatment. When this doctor becomes sick, he goes to another doctor. When the second doctor becomes sick, he goes to a third doctor. He even may go to the first doctor himself. And so on. The community treats itself. The sick don't wait at home to get healed by a miracle. Each person has certain shortcomings and flaws. If each person gives others advice, and accepts advice from others, the shortcomings will complement each other, and we'll become a much stronger society. If each person locks himself and his flaws away, and refuses others' advice, society will become weak, and subject to all social ills. I hear you say, what's this? I can give someone advice while doing wrong myself. Yes, exactly like you heard. For several reasons I'll only tell you 4. 1. The advice recipient might be unknowingly doing wrong. Not knowing it's wrong, your advice will correct his view, and prevent him from doing wrong. Result: wrongdoings will be less in society. 2. The advice recipient might know he's doing wrong, but there's a struggle between good and evil inside him, and he only needs a word from others to wake his conscience, or strengthen the good inside him, and it'll prevent him from doing wrong. Result: wrongdoings will be less in society. 3. The advice recipient might know he's doing wrong, and insists on it with premeditation because he thinks it's okay. And so what? Everyone does wrong. But when someone like you gives him advice and prohibits his wrongdoings, he'll reflect and know that society isn't easy peasy and doesn't accept wrongdoings. Result: wrongdoings will be less in society. 4. Regardless of everything you yourself, you'll be the first one benefiting. When you look into the mirror, you'll be ashamed of doing wrong after you told someone not to. Or, at least, you'll think twice before doing it. This will have a great impact on you, before anyone else, in fixing your affairs. Result: wrongdoings will be less in society. Someone'll, of course, say, "Oh Sheikh, what about the verse saying, do you command people to virtuous conduct, and forget yourselves?" Oh Sheikh, look pal, this verse relates to people of the book. Scholars who knew of the prophets, peace be upon him, prophecy, and it was written in the divine books. Even when they were asked about the prophet, they acknowledged that he's Allah's prophet. But they were too arrogant to follow him. That's why this verse was revealed about them. Even if you take the words in their general meaning, you're commanded to do 2 things. Advise yourself to virtuous conduct, and advise people to virtuous conduct. If you couldn't do one, this doesn't mean you should neglect the other. Summary: if someone sees you doing wrongs and gives you advice, focus on its content, and forget the advisor. If you don't like the advice, ignore it. If you see someone doing wrong, don't with, but give it calmly, not in public and without overstepping. By doing this, we'll have realized the most important trait Allah gave our nation, and guaranteed to live in a better society. I want you to write down in the comments an advice you'd like to give to other viewers. Let's train on giving and hearing advice.